Howdy doody there. This is Grandpa. I wanted to share a little bit about there. Now I can see you. Okay, I wanted to share a little bit with you about arthritis. I was working in 2008 delivering with a semi truck and trailer, and I was called into the office because the boss said, well, I thought I was going a little slow. Okay, so all right, then I know what to do with this thing. I'm gonna get my little notebook and I'll just make sure that I might write down what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. You know, what time, what my activity is. So I went ahead and did that, and then. I talked to him about a month later, and he said, well, hey, you're doing really good at this. Okay, so I started picking up. Well, then he was replaced. He moved to South Carolina or North Carolina or somewhere down south. Anyway, he moved somewhere down south, and I got a new boss. And a few months later, he called me in. He said they were concerned about me. They wanted me to go see the doctor. They were concerned about me. Okay, fine. I'll go see the doctor. So I went talk to the doctor, and he said we've got severe arthritis. And I said, well, is this bad enough to get a handicap license plate? And he reached over and filled out this little form here, and he handed it to me, and I said, wow, thanks. Well, I'm thinking, okay, well, apparently this is worse than I thought it was. So went back to work and told them what they said and what the doctor said, and told them that it was severe arthritis. So I said, well, they said, well, what do you intend to do? And I said, well, what I probably ought to do is, well, I can't keep working like this. I need to retire. So I was 60. I was coming up on, no, I was already 62. So I went to Social Security, and they said, well, yeah, you can sign up for Social Security. But they said, the lady there said also, after you fully retired, when you're done working, then you have to come in and you can file for disability. So I did that, and I got the disability 2 months later, and I thought that was kind of strange that I got it 2 months later, because all the other people that I talked to told them what was happening. They said, well, they had to go and sue in court. They had to get a lawyer to be able to get the disability. So I'm thinking, well, this is probably an indicator. And yes, listen to this. I went to the doctor. Social Security said, well, you have to go talk to a doctor, and he has to prove your disability. So I went to this chiropractor that was hired by the government for Social Security there, and this doctor handed me a piece of paper, or he handed me my X-rays. Handed me my X-rays, and he says, you've got severe arthritis. No, he said, you've got arthritis. Oh, well, okay, alrighty then. So then that was in April, and 2 months later, 3 months later, I got my first check for disability. So that helped, but that I've been making about $4,000 a month, and now I'm making $2,000 a month. So now what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to live? Duh. So anyway, I started selling some extra stuff, and found the food banks. Oh, because once I did the Dave Ramsey thing. When you do the Dave Ramsey thing, you pay your house, and then you pay your utilities, then you pay your car and your car insurance, and whatever's left over, you live on that. And I had $20. This is to buy gasoline and food for a month. So I went to, I started going to a church right across the road because I couldn't go to my church anymore, but couldn't afford gas. So I started going to the church across the street, and then the guy asked me what was going on, and you know, he introduced himself, and I talked about that. And he says, well, gee, you know, if you'd like to set out cones here, we can set you, help you out with that. So I said, okay. So I got about what their donations, what they gave me, and my money that I got from the Social Security. I had about $150 a month to live on, and I was able to buy food and gasoline with that. I went to food banks, but I was able to buy food and gasoline. And I at that and I didn't tell you. You need to know this. A year before, I was having trouble with my knees. About every 4 hours, I'd take an ace bandage off my knees, both knees. Take those ace bandages off, put Vicks on them, which has menthol in it, and rewrap them. And then I'd take ibuprofen. At the time, to be able to continue working, I was taking 24 ibuprofen a day. 24. You're not supposed to do that. You gotta walk, right? You gotta go to the little facility. You know, you gotta walk to get there. So anyway, I was taking 24 ibuprofen a day, and I hung out with some friends. The second week of July, we had a celebration. I hung out with some friends, and they said, "Have you heard the news is saying that the underarm deodorant was aluminum in it and is causing breast cancer in women?" And I thought, well, I'm not a woman. I wonder if my underarm deodorant has aluminum in it. So I went home and checked. It had aluminum in it. So I said, well, you know, second week of July, I'll quit using it for a week or a few weeks, and we'll just see what happens. So I quit using it, and 6 weeks later, I woke up on a Friday morning and realized I hadn't woken up in pain during the night. Saturday morning, I woke up again and realized I did not wake up in the middle of the night to rebandage my knees, because I've been doing that every night. I'd go to bed about 9 o'clock at night. Well, if I went to bed at 8 at midnight, then I woke up and took the bandages off, put the Vicks on, put the bandages back on because I couldn't stand the pain. And then I would get up again at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd take the bandages off and put more Vicks on, put the bandages back on. And it was probably less than a week's time. I went from 24 ibuprofen a day to 8. Because there was aluminum in the underarm deodorant, and it was causing such pain. I couldn't stand to walk. You know, you got to go to the facility there. You know, so off and on throughout the day. Couldn't get there if I didn't take all those ibuprofen to kill the pain to get to the bathroom. You know, that was tough. So anyway, they put after I retired, then I fell down off of my bicycle, broke my hand because I held my hand out, you know, to stop myself. Blam, land on my hand, so I break my hand and went to the VA, to the hospital, and they set me up with some people, and they set my hand and put a cast on it, stuff like that. And then they put me they give me a nutritionist. And the nutritionist said, who would like to go grain-free with me for a month? And I'm thinking, grain-free for a month? Hey, I quit using aluminum and I got a tremendous decrease in pain. Let's see what happens if I quit grains. I don't know. You'll give it a try. And this is about April 1st. Well, 3 weeks later, I'm sitting and eating an apple and a piece of cheese out at the kitchen table because you got a nutritionist. You got to cut back on all the yummy food. Okay. So anyway, I'm sitting there eating an apple and a piece of cheese, and I said, man, this is really good. It tastes just like apple pie. That's delicious. And guess what? It was then, that moment, I realized I had lost my sense of smell and my sense of taste. I quit eating grains, and I got my sense of smell back, and I got my sense of taste back. And I've been working on my diet ever since. I watch, what's her name? Dr. Barbara O'Neill. She talks a lot about your body and the things you take and how they affect your body. And I've been trying to follow the things that she tells, and they do help. They do help. Taking the sea salt throughout the day does help because my vision is slightly better, and I think my health's better. My sister says my hair's darker. I don't know if it is or not. Anyway, in 2012, I was diagnosed with 2 years after I retired. I was diagnosed with macular degeneration. And it's gotten to the point now. Well, they said I could just start taking shots, and shots might get extended for maybe 4 to 6 years, maybe. And so I started taking Avastin. They started injecting Avastin in my eyes, and that was 2012. So then they started doing shots, and then it was 2014. Well, they started doing shots on my right eye, and then 2014 they started doing shots in my left eye. And now I get shots every I was getting them about every 6 months. Now I get about every month and a half. I get shots in both, but my vision's doing pretty well. One of the things I noticed that helps my vision is flaxseed oil. If I don't take flaxseed oil, it's my vision's kind of foggy, slightly foggy. It's the best way to put it, just barely slightly. Okay, so I take flaxseed oil, take a tablet or two each day of that, and then I take coconut oil. And the reason I take coconut oil, listen to this story. Well, I started taking coconut oil because I was at Kroger, and they had a book there that said coconut oil, the miracle oil. And I said, wow, that's interesting. I know that stuff that you put in your eyes can make a difference in how you feel. So I bought this book, and it said that it works on on inflammation, and it works on your immune system. I said, wow, okay, so I'll try this. Well, I started taking that, and I noticed about 2-3 months later, I used to get zits on my neck. I didn't get any zits anymore. I used to get these little zits inside my ear there that would hurt, and you'd have to squeeze those stupid things with your finger, and got rid of them. I used to get blackheads on my legs, and don't get blackheads anymore. And the thing another thing that got my attention was my gums would bleed. They'd swell up and bleed. And I would start, after taking this coconut oil, they don't swell up and bleed anymore. And I've noticed that my vision is improving. It might be, I think it's because of coconut oil and a combination of keto diet, because now I don't eat breakfast. I go from about 6-7 o'clock at night to maybe noon the next day, because the keto diet says after 14 hours of not eating, your stem cells start to regenerate. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, this is cool. I'll give this a try. So I started doing that, and then I had lost my central vision, my right eye, and been taking coconut oil about 5 years and doing this keto diet. They have 14 hours of no food for 5 years now, and my central vision has returned. I like to read the Bible before I go to bed each night. I try to read a chapter a day, because I've been through 8 times, and this. Yeah, I've been through 8 times, and this makes 9 times through. And just, something I think you ought to do when you get old. So anyway, I started taking the coconut oil and doing the fasting. And I noticed now that, it was a couple of nights ago, I noticed that with the magnifying glass, if I use magnifying glass, I could see with my right eye. I can read with my right eye. I can read. I'd lost that vision for 10 years. Nothing in my central vision of my right eye. But now I can actually read it. There are words. I have to have my magnifying glass, because, hey, I'm older than dirt. There you go. But I'd use a magnifying glass, and it really helps. So these are some of the things I've learned in my health journey, and I'm sure there's more to go, because I wanted. But the thing that brought it up to mind was I hadn't. I had a mini stroke in January, and I'll have to tell you about that another time. But I had a mini stroke, and then I forgot to take my flaxseed oil, and everything started to get a little mist. You know, everything had a mist. Now I've been taking flaxseed oil; it's all gone again. So that's amazing stuff. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.